I'm here with Ella. Ella, Arsenal win again, 1-0, 1-0 to the Arsenal. You know the thing. I wouldn't say it's the most convincing performance, but then having said that, we didn't really look like we were going to lose, and we got a great goal through Eze, yeah?
We did get a great goal from Eze, and a goal that I'm really happy about. Obviously, his first Premier League goal for Arsenal, and a big one. I think it was important for him to kind of get off the mark, because I think there's a lot of eyes on him at the moment with Odegaard being out. He's taking that position, which is a big shoes to fill. You know, despite Odegaard's form recently, he's a top player and he's a big influence for us on the football pitch. So it's a hard role for him to play, but one that, you know, we know his quality and we know what he can do on the football pitch. And it was a top goal today, a great strike, one that Odegaard probably doesn't score, to be honest with you. So I'm really happy. In terms of like the game, I think we dominated it as per usual at home, but obviously not a lot of chances. In the end, from a set piece, we know how this season goes. we know the script. But I'm not mad about it. I'm happy. 3 points is so important. So we move forward, onwards and upwards.
Absolutely. For me, I think it was one of those games where we looked ruthlessly efficient. We wasn't on top form in terms of, you know, fluidity. But then having said that, to be fair to Palace, they set up well. And I thought that they, you know what I mean, they were in the game, certainly in the first 30 minutes. But I think once we scored, I think that kind of, we showed our ability after that. But great goal. Eze, I mean, it was written, wasn't it, that he was going to get his goal against his old club. Anyone else stand out for you today?
I think Declan Rice, as always, because I just think he's everywhere, always. His work rate is quite unique, really. He touches every blade of grass and he always puts in 100%. I think Mosquera played well when he came on as well. And I think he's definitely one of the most important signings for the summer for us, I think, in the sense that he's one that came in a young centre-back and, you know, we're going to have injuries to Gabriel and Saliba at some point, and whenever he seems to come in, he comes in seamlessly. And I think that is not easy to do, and the fact that he does it so well just proves, well, how well we've recruited, to be honest, to find him. He seems like a bit of a gem, and I think he has a high ceiling. But no, not too many standouts, but listen, not every Arsenal game is going to be super pretty, and I think we know that. And
I thought Timber played well.
Yeah, I think Timber did play
But
well.
then when does he not play well?
Yeah, he's another one that is just unbelievably consistent. I think this season he has never had a less than probably a 7 out of 10 game. He's just unbelievably good. So yeah, very, very good player.
I feel we should talk about Victor Gyökeres for a minute, because myself, you and Christian, we were going back and forth about Gyökeres, and you were quite empathetic towards him, which I get. I was trying not to have a go at him. I was just giving my honest opinion. There was a chance in the second half where it opened up for him, and unfortunately it didn't work out. And I was saying he really needs to. Do you think there may be a little bit of tiredness creeping in, or do you think maybe okay, let me break it down. Some people are saying, I know our production guy, I'm not going to mention him by name, but he's doubting his ability as a footballer. He's saying he's there more to score goals, but he's not impressed with his hold-up play and his general footballing play. Where do you stand on the debate?
I think, listen, Gyökeres coming in, he's coming in from a very different league environment, which is always kind of a bit of a gamble, isn't it? We've seen moves like that where ultimately they don't turn out. I think he's a good player, and I think he's a good striker, and I always see a lot of potential in him. I think he is potentially struggling at times with the fact that he's now in a top league and it's not as easy for him to score goals. I think he's realised that quite quickly. I think when he initially came in, obviously because of the Havertz injury, I think the way that he's come into the team was different to the way that Arteta perhaps would have hoped. I think if we would have had Havertz fit, I think it would have been a little bit more, you know, Gyökeres some games, Havertz some games, whereas obviously he's had to play literally every single game since he's come in, which, listen, you could say that's a good thing because he has to find his feet quicker and get up to speed with everything. I think with Gyökeres, I always feel like it's coming, and I feel like he is doing the right things to get the goals. I think today was slightly disappointing. I think a lot of us thought that after the Atletico Madrid game that maybe he would kick on and use it as momentum. And I know some people are not convinced by him. I think we've still got more to see if he really wants to prove a point. But I think a lot of his hold-up play in games has been good. And when he's not been scoring goals, I've seen things that I like that I think have helped out the team in attacking phases of play. Yes, I think that he needs to be scoring more goals. I do. But if we're a team that keeps finding ways, and we have goal scorers all over the pitch, we've seen that over the last couple of seasons. So literally every player ends up getting a couple goals in the season. Then, listen, I know we've bought Gyökeres to be that target man, that striker to score goals, but it's almost like, are we going to need him to be scoring 20 goals? I'd love him to, but are we going to need him to score it to win the league? Or is it just a bonus? I don't know. We've got more to see from him, I know that.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting debate because, like I said, there have been murmurs. You only had to look in the comments today. There are one or two people, maybe then just one or two, that are doubting his prowess up top. I mean, like you quite rightly pointed out, it's a very different league, very different level of scrutiny.
Different team as well,
different team, different setup. We're having to get used to him. He's having to get used to us. Would you stick with him for the Brighton game? Some people say maybe sit him out for that game, save him for the game against who is it? Who we got next weekend? Burnley, yeah.
Well, it's hard to say to rest him because we don't really have another striker. I guess if you're going to rest him, you're going to then end up playing like Trossard up front or Martinelli or someone.
It could be Trossard, it could be Martinelli, it could be Marino, who's played in those false nine positions before. Some people are saying he's looking a bit jaded, a little bit tired, maybe a little bit sluggish. He might, benefit by having a game off.
I think he is finding it hard with Havertz out. I do, because there are many moments that we've seen so far this season where you'd think, okay, maybe at 65, 70 minutes, like now you'd want to bring Havertz in, and obviously we don't really have the luxury because we've got two strikers that are not fit. But the only thing I am thinking about is obviously I don't want to underestimate this Brighton side, and I won't, because I think they're still a good side. And I know he's not been scoring, but having him out I think would still be a loss. And I just think we have to win this game because we need to stay in all competitions. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what he goes for. I think maybe he's feeling a bit tired and feeling it a bit, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'd like to see him play and I'd like to see him score. So, yeah, there you go.
Yes,
but you don't always get what you want in life. Let's talk a little bit more about the league then, because the results have gone our way this weekend. We're sitting, as we speak now, top of the table by 4 points. Bournemouth are in second. Now, the way things are shaping up, it's looking really good for us. Now, I don't want to jump the gun and say, look, you know what I mean? By no means. I mean, we're not even a quarter of the way through the season. But we've got to be honest and say, at the moment, Arsenal looking like firm favourites for the title, yeah? Or am I...
No,
is that remiss of me to say that?
You're absolutely right. We should be firm favourites. I think... Obviously, the results going our way they only go our way when we do our job on the pitch.
That's a good point.
Because we saw last season results go our way and then we didn't win. And then it goes your way, but you don't take advantage. So this little spell where Liverpool have been dropping points, City haven't really dropped points, but they did lose today. Chelsea have dropped a couple points. It's important that we try and pull away. And like I said on the stream, obviously, we've had a tough opening couple of fixtures. And yes, we did drop points to Liverpool and City, which in hindsight, we can talk about that and say, well, perhaps we shouldn't have dropped 4 points. But the fact of the matter is that we were sat top of the table after those games, after that run. So ultimately, I think to be where we are with the games we've had, and now we have a slightly more favourable run where other teams might have trickier games coming up, if we can create some sort of points gap, I think we have a really, really good chance. And obviously we can talk about the defence, and that is what might win us the Premier League, because we just aren't giving teams chances. And even in today's game, we were speaking about, there were moments where Palace looked a little bit dangerous, but they're not dangerous enough to really get through on goal and cause David Raya any problems. So what the back line is doing is really important, and it's when you can then afford to win a game 1-0 because we're not conceding. So you just have to find one moment in a game. And I think that's what's unique about this Arsenal side.
Yeah, well said. I think that's very accurate. Just, looking ahead briefly to the game on Wednesday, it is an important game. Is there anyone that didn't feature today that you'd like to see play, or any one of the subs that didn't start today that you think you'd like to see them start on Wednesday against Brighton?
Yeah, well, we spoke quite a lot about Ethan Nwaneri, and listen, we obviously don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We don't know why he isn't necessarily getting as many minutes as we think he deserves as a player, a young player who I think has a high ceiling. But I think if there's a game that you should give maybe Ethan a chance, I think it could be on Wednesday. I'm not saying it's an easy game, a game where you just throw in, but listen, he's not just any kid, he's someone that's
he's
got
proved,
talent.
yeah, absolutely.
He has proved it before. So I think giving Ethan a game, I think maybe Miles as well. Obviously, you don't want to make too many changes when you've got something good going, but we have a squad where we should be able to utilise and rotate when we want to, really, and give players rest. Obviously, Gabriel was a doubt going into this game, and Saliba, we don't know what happened at half-time, I don't think, yet. I hope it's not fitness or injury related, but, you know, we've got Mosquera, we've got Ben White and Capier, so I think expect some rotation, but if I know Arteta, it won't be a lot. But I'd like to see a couple people given some game time on Wednesday.
And you're confident about the game Wednesday?
Well, at the moment, I think you have to be going into every game. I hope we win. I think obviously it being at home is an advantage, and
because I think Brighton will go strong, right?
Yeah, I'm sure they will. And like I said, Brighton are a good side. I don't think it's going to be an easy game, but I think Arsenal are just slightly too good defensively, really, more than anything. I know our attack, that you could still say that there are some issues there.
And of course, we'll still have some of the big guns on the bench if we need to bring them on.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I think we should win. We should. We absolutely should. And if we don't, I think we'll be kicking ourselves. Because I think
it's fair to say we're in a great place right now, yeah?
Yeah, well, of course. Yeah. When you're top of the league, listen, I know you said at this point, you know, it's so early on in the season, we haven't even played a quarter. I think that's what I keep needing to remind myself, and that's why I'm also kind of not letting myself get like really excited about anything, because Laurie, we've been here before. We've been here before for the last couple of years where we've been top of the league, we've been able to have a 10-point gap and it doesn't go our way. But I think what a lot of people have been saying and are right to say is that this is a different Arsenal, I think. Defensively, it's a different Arsenal. The team has now been together for a couple of years and I think gelled really now this year properly, and they know what they're doing, and this is a group that I think is very tunnel vision. We know what we have to do. We've had experience. We know what works, what doesn't work, where we need to improve. Yeah, I don't want to say this is the year, but listen, it should be. This should be the year.
GFN Soccer TV, with all your favourite shows in one place, is now live in the UK with Samsung TV Plus.